Hi everyone, this is Kristina, and this is my work in progress demo for the Add Inline Help task. So this task involves investigating ways in which we could add inline help into Review Board, and then eventually implementing some help features for Review Board. So I'm going to just quickly go over a demo I've prepared for some of the ways we could add inline help, and that'll be my video. So this is the demo page I've prepared. So what we have here is a variety of options of inline help that we could add into Review Board. So the first is to use $JS to show users a list of available keyboard shortcuts. So for users to access this, they type a question mark character, so the shift and the slash key at the same time. So this shows them a list of keyboard shortcuts that they can use on the page. So this is really good for giving users some sort of reference point on keyboard shortcuts that are available. And it's a pretty widely used pattern. You can see it in apps like Gmail. So the one disadvantage that I've thought of with this is it's not very easy for users to discover. So users may not actually know it exists. So for example, I had no idea that this existed in Gmail until I started investigating inline help. The other thing is it's a great reference point for keyboard shortcuts, but if we want to offer any other form of help, this would not work. So this is strictly confined to keyboard shortcuts. So option number 2 for adding inline help is just to add a little tooltip. So we'd have this little question mark icon. User hovers over it, the little tooltip explaining what the content to the left is would show up. So for example, this is the text off one of my reviews. It's the title for the revisions slider. And so users would hover over this and they would get a little brief explanation of how the slider works. So this is really good because it's a very well-known pattern. It's really visible for the users. But the downside is we're really limited to how much content we can put into a tooltip, so offering any sort of more complex help might be a little bit difficult. The other thing is we have to have an area that it makes sense to put this icon. So unfortunately it doesn't make sense to put this icon, let's say, next to the entire diff viewer. So in this case, if we wanted to show some sort of functionality of the actual diff viewer itself, might not be the best case. Okay, so option 3 is to show a div at the top of the page for first-time users. So what this would do is the first time a user came to a section of the website, it would just have a little bit of help text that would point out important features or explain how the section should be used. And then users could click this X button here and it goes away. So that means that users who understand the section of the website can get rid of it and it doesn't take up any more screen real estate. This is really widely used in other web applications and is a pretty good pattern. The only problem is it doesn't provide a reference that users can go back to if they want to read it again, because after the first time it's gone. And option number 4 is to have a user help button. So here we have the buttons from the diff viewer, or the top of the diff viewer with the diff viewer operations on them. So I've added the user help button. Users would click that and they would get a little modal showing the diff viewer help tips. So this would be stuff like slide the revision slider to control which revisions you're comparing. And possibly also some keyboard shortcuts, as we would be creating this component ourselves. So we can really decide what happens here. And users are able to get rid of that and come back easily. So that's really a good option, but yeah, once again, we need to be able to find out where we can put this so that it's obvious, this button, so it's obvious to users. And we have to make sure that we have the right content, not too much content in the modal itself. So those are the current options I'm investigating for adding inline help, and I hope you enjoyed my